defense.
What up? We're back. Split the defense. Leaves post game after quite a long break and quite a glorious win for Team Canada.
Hell yeah.
Bringing another championship back home where it's supposed to be. But after all that fun, now we're back to club hockey, and we've had 2 games this weekend, and due to illness, I missed yesterday. I apologize for that. But we're here now. We're going to chat the Chicago game on Sunday here tonight. We may chat a little bit about the Hurricanes game as well because, well, you can't stop us. So, anyways,
maybe Canada.
I'm Jordan Webster. Yeah, maybe some Canada too. I am Jordan Webster with Craig Pearce, producer Ted Evans in the booth. This is game 57 we are about to break down. Robertson night has to be first star, right?
Hell yeah. I mean, it's kind of funny that on the night that his brother actually pulled off the hat trick, still has to live in his brother's shadow, but nice 2-goal game for Robertson, Nicky Bobby, and yeah, I mean, him and Domi just seemed to click tonight. Even last night too. Like I felt like they've had kind of something going on a third line, and it's been nice to see that it's not just Robertson, it's depth scoring in general. We've been having it we had the Stars picked up some empty netters last night, but besides that, it's basically been down the lineup.
Yeah. All depth. Yeah, Domi feeds Robertson on the power play for one of them, and then another one was Domi feeding Robertson out of the corner, and that was just beautiful. Good effort by Domi. Nice backhand pass over to him, and he fires the top shelf back of the net. Great play. Nice to see from Nicky Bobby, but talk about the third line. Bobby McMahon's also on that third line. I can see a trend here. The max skate speed for the Leafs tonight, the fastest was Bobby McMahon, no doubt, at 22.4. Domi was right behind him at 22, and Robertson was next at 21.1.
Wow.
So you see a bit of a trend there. It's a speed line.
Yeah.
So you think maybe these guys can continue to play together, and you think maybe they might just pick it up a little bit. I wonder if any of these guys have another gear, because now it's like, give your balls a tug time. It's time to figure out whether you're going to be here for the playoff push or not. There is chatter of guys coming in, bodies coming in, and there's guys already on the bench, guys that are kind of going to be healthy soon in Calle Ehrenkrok, who are going to be vying for a spot. Like, there's no guarantees. So I wonder if those 3 guys, look each other and say, hey, we got something here. Maybe we should just push and build some chemistry here and see if they can't continue to be the line into the first round of the playoffs. Do you think that's a sustainable line going into the first round of the playoffs, though?
Yeah, that's the tough question. I mean, the speed part of it,
it's almost inevitable. A little bit broke up, right? Like,
yeah. I mean, the speed part I love, especially the one pass from Domi, the backhander, is like him chasing down a puck, and he is the fast one on the team, but you expect Bobby McMahon or someone to be doing that. And so when you see it from all 3 guys, like that is something that this team lacks, is speed. So, putting them all together maybe is the recipe versus having, them kind of lost when, you are putting them on, on a line with John Tavares, which, any line with John Tavares is not going to be a fast line regardless of who else is on it. So yeah, I do kind of like it, but you're right. They are going to be broken up. I can't see them, unless they add like a really good, like, left winger. And then that's kind of the spot that they fill on the second line, just beefing that up instead of, like, I'm just thinking if you can't go out and get a centerman, you get a left winger instead. That's the only situation I think you are going with something that looks like this. But at the same time, there's talk that, Connor Dewar's coming back to the lineup, and Calle Ehrenkrok is apparently going to make his debut after so long. So, it's not just from around the league. Yeah, they're coming back in the lineup from within our own team. So I could see that
Holberg has 3 goals in the last few games.
Yeah, geez. I mean, and then they should have I couldn't believe the replay on the one tonight. Like, frig, the game's on.
Why did they challenge that? What a waste of time.
Man, yeah, I came and logged in on this computer while that all happened just because it was like I can't even just stand to watch a challenge on an empty netter when you're down to a minute left.
And then Chicago, the home team, takes a penalty, and they got to put a guy in the box, and everybody's booing, and it's like, it's just adding insult to injury at that point. Like, they should have never challenged it. They were down by 2 with a minute and a half left. Like, it wasn't 5 minutes left in the game. Down by 2 goals, and it was close. It wasn't, it was a Cale Makar. I will say that though.
Yeah, it was
We
close
had
enough.
our first version of a Cale Makar. I will say, producer Ted, if you're listening in on us right now, we have but it was close, right? And Willie, the line ends where the blue paint ends. Is you don't have to get to the very other side of it. It's not like the goal line, right? So as soon as he
Yeah.
touches that blue, he's safe. And if he's not in possession of the puck technically, then it does make sense as a rule. So I don't disagree with the rule, and I don't think that Chicago, in the position that they're in, should have challenged it. Because let's be fucking honest here, Chicago doesn't want to win. Come
Yeah.
on, man. Chicago wants to lose. Like they only have so many games left they can lose vying for that top pick. Like, why are they even challenging at the end of a game on a Sunday night back to back? Like, they played last night too. Like, it just makes no sense. It was a silly challenge.
Yeah, when you get into the like second fine point of an offside rule, like it is kind of a legitimate challenge. And when the coach still wants to win, like I know management definitely wants to lose and they want to get as high of a draft pick as possible, but the coach wants a good record. He wants to, have Jack Adams talks about him because he brought a team that shouldn't win and push for maybe not a playoff spot, but looking like a decent team. So I do understand it. It's just I just hate it because it's a waste of time. At most of the challenges, I still think, regardless if there's, I mean, especially tonight, but even if it's a game on the line, they should only have like 30 seconds, minute tops, just to look at it a couple times to confirm. But yeah, it is like the closest an offside can get because you got to get to like the fine print on the back of the box underneath a label to find that you have to have possession of the puck on your stick. So yeah, interesting one.
Interesting one, but I mean, we have seen it before, so like
Yeah,
I do
yeah,
understand it. So a couple times tonight we had like it was I the way I wrote it is there's no flash or pizzazz through the game, but right near the end of the periods, everything seemed to pick up. And the Leafs gave up 2 end of the period goals. Now they also
yeah.
scored one, but that's a tough way to end the period. Like, absolute
Mhm.
ball breaker, giving up a goal with 10 seconds left.
Yeah, it's just behind giving up a goal at the beginning of a period. It's the second worst thing that you can do, I think, is give up a goal at the end of a period. So yeah, it's tough look for sure. Especially the one with Domi. It's like you just did something really special offensively, and then he blows a tire, Riley blows a tire. I'm not sure what happened to OEL in front of the net. So
Yeah, he got
just like
crossed up, almost fell over.
yeah, it was the trio of just like really poor defensive play. So really took the wind out of the sails after such a nice play the other way. So yeah, that's just the one in particular. But yeah, you definitely end of period. Like I almost like when there's a minute left, like you should just be doing everything you can just to make sure it's just kind of dead hockey. Like I'm a big proponent of those are real killers for sure.
Yeah, 100%. What else? So yeah, okay. So we got our defensemen scoring goals tonight. Jake McCabe
Mhm.
with a bullet of a one
Yeah.
timer, and then Chris Tanev also gets one. That was more of a pinball goal. We thought, I think, who do we think that was? Holmberg's as well. We thought that was Holmberg's. He ended up getting the empty netter at the end.
Yeah.
He was in and around it. He's been in and around it. He'll be next, but we'll talk about our defensemen. So Jake McCabe is a one timer, and then Chris Tanev gets another, and they're supposed to be our shutdown bear. Funny enough,
Yeah.
right? And they're the ones scoring the goals. Now, on your needs list for the Toronto Maple Leafs heading into the playoffs to have success, how high is another offensive but defensively rounded defenseman?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if I'm in the like if I want like a two-way guy, like I'm more in the boat where you want to replace Timmins to like get something that is like just in like a Shane Gostisbehere type of a
I
player
was thinking the
that
same thing. But
yeah,
Shane Gostisbehere is Shane Gostisbehere still Shane Gostisbehere?
No, well, and I think isn't he playing for Carolina? Like, isn't that where he
Yeah, I
is
don't
now?
know.
Yeah.
He's
So
not even really the same guy he was for those couple of years in Philly. So like
no,
that's a
like
dream.
I think that I think you have to kind of you can't replace Riley or OEL, which I think is what you're alluding to, is just getting someone that's better than them for
Yeah,
in the middle. Um,
putting OEL down on the third line and having like
yeah,
somebody else to take those like less minutes for OEL. He's a good guy to have around. I do enjoy like moment. There's moments to have him. He's a
yeah,
good guy to have. Good guy to have if you need situationally, but not in every situation. And there's times when we have hoped for more from OEL. Like we expected a different version. I think a little bit more of an offensive OEL. Like, what did he score 10 goals last year?
yeah.
How many goals do you have this year? 3.
I know. I mean, it that's kind of to be expected just in a guy. Like I don't think 10 goals was really who OEL was gonna be for us, just especially in the role that you're
Well,
putting them in. Like he's getting hardly any power play time,
but I
and
think the guy that we need and the guy that we expected OEL to be should have at least 10 goals, 12 goals. You
yeah.
know,
I think
like
to me, as far as
shouldn't
like
be 6 or 8.
yeah, I think for me, what I would like is them to just get the best available player that they can afford, and like if that's a centerman, then you go and you get like a depth defenseman, like more of what I'm talking about, where it's a third liner with offensive upside. If you can't get like the best centerman on the market, then you just get a left winger to kind of fill out the depths of the forward, and you go and get a better defenseman, someone that like fits into your top four. I just like this team's not in a position really to go out and spend all of the assets that they have. So I think they're gonna have to pick and choose here. I would really like them to go and get the best player they could. It's just I don't really care who it like what position. It's just something that's impactful. Don't get like kind of just everything frilly along the edges. Like Kyle Dubas was just so famous of going and get 7 guys that don't impact your roster at all. Like I would just go out and get one guy who's just going to be impactful. If that's a shutdown centerman, great. If it's a guy who can score that plays left wing on the second line, perfect. For me, like ideally, yeah, it's like a really solid defenseman. And then you kind of, fill the edges on the forward end. But yeah, I guess it's just what's going to be the thing out there. Brock Nelson to me, I just still keep like thinking
It's
about.
so
And if
underwhelming.
yeah, I mean, he is, but I mean, I think it is something that he would look good on our third line. It's just what's he going to cost? I think you're going to definitely overpay for him. So that's where like you couldn't afford anything else. Like I still, if you could go and land a name that's not on the trade board, like a Dylan Cousins gets thrown out a lot, or someone that plays on just like I don't know a team like Seattle, like Jared McCann. No one's really talking about him
Oh yeah.
anymore. Just like someone off the board who has term. Like that's
Yeah,
the
he only
perfect
makes like $5 million or something like that, doesn't he?
perfect. Yeah, yeah. It's not
Five and
much.
a
I think it's
half.
5.5. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean
We
that's
can do
that's
that.
doable. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure though that like it's a you can do both situation. The more I think about it.
Yeah, that's fair. Where are we at now? Holmberg. Yeah, I want to talk about Holmberg. So Holmberg gets the empty netter tonight. Holmberg's got a few goals in the last few games. He's a big, strong guy. He's pretty good defensively. Coach seems to like him. Do you think he's gonna get traded out of here in the next month?
No, I don't think no, I think he's sticking around. I think he's going to end up on the fourth line, I think, by the end of all this. And we'll just kind of, he's a great player to have around. He's kind of like, he underwhelms a lot, but sometimes like he overwhelms a lot too. Like he becomes a guy that you don't expect much from, except for just like, consistent play in a way. But he does have an ability
Sorry.
to like chip in a little bit, but he's definitely I'm not sure like destined to be on the second line here. And the only way that you're really gonna trade him away is if like, is that was the, final piece in filling out the great offensive, forward that you need. But yeah, I'm not I think he'll be around just on
It's
a fourth
cheap.
line. Yeah.
Yeah. There's no reason to get rid of him.
And
He's
he's
not
our
really
camp
flashy
replacement
enough for
too.
anybody to want to take him. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think that may be a guy that might end up walking out the door for somebody like you just mentioned. So I didn't realize. I thought that the trade deadline was like the March 20 something. The trade deadline is 7 10, like 12 days away.
Yeah, it's creeping up. I think that's why there was like a lot of talk right before the Four Nations breaks, because like once that's over, it's like it's right upon us, you know. So I think that things are gonna get heated up. We've already seen things trickle in before the break, so I wouldn't be surprised if GMs start talking again, and we have kind of a you know in a couple days we have a few things drop, and then we'll see what kind of deadline it is, because sometimes you have where everyone holds out until the last second and all the deals come in, but we've seen years just recently where it's more of a steady stream, and then deadline day comes and there's like hardly anyone left. So it'll be interesting to see what kind of year it is this year. But
So we got for sellers, we got Buffalo Sabres are definitely going to be sellers.
oh yeah,
Now behind them are the Canadians and the Bruins, which is
all in our division.
hilarious. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about, and it's just our division. And then down in the Metro, the Penguins are definitely going to be sellers.
Yeah.
The Flyers are definitely going to be sellers. The Islanders more than likely will be sellers. The Rangers probably are going to make a push. They probably won't sell. They'll probably buy at the trade deadline. So that's the East. So we got Buffalo, really, that you could pick from a guy, in Pittsburgh. I mean, and maybe Philadelphia. I don't really have anybody who's just like, wow, impact player from any of those teams. Now we got the Blackhawks. We got the Predators on the other side. We got the Sharks. We got the Kraken possibly, and the Ducks more than likely, because I don't think they even have aspirations. I think anything that would come of value to move their needle for next year would be more appealing to them, rather than because I don't think they know they're not going to go for it this year. So even if they were to sneak into the playoffs some fucking weird way, I don't think that they'd be, I think they'd sell. So if you wanted anybody off the Ducks, the Kraken, the Sharks, the Predators, the Blackhawks, maybe Utah, maybe even the Blues.
Like the names that jump out to me from those teams are just like guys that have been talked about, like Ryan Strome from the Ducks. You got Trent Frederick from Boston.
Who's an impact guy?
Yeah,
who's that impact guy that's going to come in like that one good guy? Like,
yeah, it's tough.
I don't really know. Those are going to be the teams that are selling. Everybody else is still kind of in it, kind of pushing for it, has aspirations. Those people aren't going to sell. It's
all right. I got one for you.
Unless we're making a hockey trade.
Brad Marchand.
That would be awesome. After Team Canada, man, I'm fully on board with the Brad Marchand trade. Yeah, let's do it.
Mitch Marner's his favorite player. We've heard him say it before. They're probably best friends now because they've played together. We were saying before the Four Nations, like, guys, go out there and put some bugs in some guys' ears to get over here. Maybe that's what Marner did. Marchand's, his room's painted blue, and he's ready to come to Toronto. Wouldn't that be something? That'd be insane. That would break the internet for real.
Boston, like, if I look up what are the wild card standings? So
would Brad Marchand even go anywhere in his entire career? Like, I feel like that's such a trader type of move to go to Toronto.
No,
so,
I couldn't see it happening. Yeah,
he probably still wants to live.
I honestly
in Boston,
could never see it. But would I want it? Like, do I want it? Of course, yeah. Like, yeah, especially after Team Canada. Do I think it will happen? Likelihood of it happening? I don't know, 10%.
Like, that lower.
That may be a reach. Yeah,
it's gonna say 5%, maybe. Like, yeah,
threw a little heart in there. But
yeah, for
sure.
Sure.
Okay. So Boston is 2 point. They're 1 point out of a wild card spot against the Senators. So they're basically fighting the Senators, the Blue Jackets, the Rangers, who are all kind of in the fight right now. So they're probably not selling. I don't think they're going to be a team you're going to be able to buy from. But, like, realistically, you got, New York Islanders, Montreal Canadiens, Philadelphia Flyers, Pittsburgh Penguins. Who are we going to take?
Like, I think, like, I don't know. Like,
I don't really know, man. Like, I don't really feel like there's a
massive... All the guys are just, like, the kind of fill the gap kind of guys. Like, Christian Dvorak from Montreal. Like, he'd be a decent third-line centerman.
Maybe 5 years ago.
No, well, like, I mean, he's not that old. He's still kind of an average player. He's always been
he's just an average player.
Yeah,
we're looking for an impact player. You want a Kyle Dubas it?
Yeah, like, can you get Nick Suzuki out of the hands of Montreal? I don't think
No,
so.
that's never
Yeah,
happening.
yeah. So
That's
that's
not
the tough
happening.
spot. Like
What
Ryan
about a Josh
Strome.
Anderson though? What about a
Uh,
Josh Anderson?
I mean, whatever that would cost. If that he has a big contract though, he's in the 5 million, and I don't think he provides
Yeah.
5 million worth to this cap these days. But he's
How many
definitely a
years does
guy
he
that would
have
be
left on that?
impactful. You know, he plays his best games when he's playing against the Leafs, so maybe he could just continue that while he's on the Leafs. That'd be great. Yeah.
Well, he's in year 5 of a 7-year, $5.5 million contract. So I wonder what you'd pay for retention through maybe like the Bank of Chicago
Yeah.
or the Bank of Utah. I don't know if there's
Anaheim.
a Bank of Utah. I'm not sure, but maybe the Bank of Anaheim. We haven't seen
Utah's,
that yet. We don't know, but somebody could broker that,
yeah.
right?
The
And
Mormon
then
money
maybe even
in
take a
Utah.
couple of mil off, so like you pay him say 3.5 mil,
Yeah, that's not a
a
bad
little more
idea.
attractive.
Yeah, he's a goal
And then you've
scorer
got
though. That's kind of you've been wanting someone who's more of a facilitator type of a player. That's
yeah,
not Josh
I
Anderson.
know.
He's a Bobby McMahon, just a little bit bruisier. So yeah.
Yeah, we're reaching here. All right, you want to go talk about last night's game? I want to bring up that we were shitting on the Stars and JT scored in both back-to-back games, and not just on an empty net. He scored last night and tonight. And Alex
That's
Steves,
hilarious.
what did you think of
Yeah.
Alex Steves?
First goal, yeah. Good for him. He's a guy that's been around, and I was actually a little surprised it was his first goal. Not gonna lie. Because what has he played in 10 games?
Yeah, it's like his
15?
10th game or 11th
Yeah.
game. Yeah,
So I was a little, and it's been spread out over such a long period of time. Like his first
yeah,
game was probably like 2 or 3 years ago. So
3 years
uh,
ago. Yeah,
right, Jesus Christ, what a career he's had so far. I mean, every week
and
that
he's
he's in the
leading the
NHL.
AHL in goals right now.
Well, that's why he's gotten the bump up here for sure. He's always been kind of played well. It's just not quite good enough to make an impact, and he's not quite large enough to be a fourth line, stay in the lineup kind of a guy. So I think he's always kind of had good skills though, and if he gets the right opportunity, I think he can capitalize. And I think he's a reach if he's going to be on the Leafs roster come playoff day, but he has
Yeah, I know.
I think him and Holmberg, I think, were kind of battling for the same position on this team, and then only one of them was ever gonna, make that spot, and it wasn't him, unfortunately. So yeah,
But he does have a hell of a shot. His shot reminds me of like that fucking one-timer shot he had there, had some power on it.
yeah,
That's like a Cali Arncroke, Nicky Bobby whipper one-timer.
mm,
Definitely doesn't have something as strong as maybe Matthews or McKinnon or somebody like that. A great strong shot. Like Draisaitl, definitely not. But one of those, like you've seen those guys. They have some snot behind their one-timers, and he definitely showed that he's got that goal scoring prowess. So like you maybe give him a little more offensive chances and don't just stick him on the fourth line.
yeah. He's a college kid, so like I feel
Although
like they
Lorentz
come
has
with.
been
Sorry, go ahead. Oh yeah, he's not a guy I want to push up the lineup though. I would rather give Steves a look than Lawrence. Lawrence
no,
is
I
just
mean I think Lorentz has been offensive, so like I can't really complain with his
oh
offensive
I see.
production. He's been
He's been
phenomenal the
fine.
last
Yeah,
couple of games. Yeah, like
yeah.
whatever Cabo did him great, like wherever the hell he was.
Yeah. I've actually had some buddies that were saying oh, the Stars didn't show up, expected them on fire from the after the Four Nations, and I was like, I'm surprised they haven't showed up. They
Yeah,
should have taken the weekend off because
a lot of guys did.
yeah, I'm not sure why they didn't. I mean, good on them, I guess, but I mean, they could have taken at least the weekend and had until Tuesday or whenever that we play next to have off. So a little surprising, but I mean, I guess it's nice that they're coming back from Four Nations all, not injured at least. That's definitely a good sign.
Yeah, didn't Matthews get injured there? Like it's a new injury, and he played through it anyways. Then he came back and he played 2 games this weekend. So
Can't
it's
be
obviously
that
not
bad.
that serious.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Even
fine.
you see
He's fine.
everyone's kind of creating like making up injuries from the Four Nations.
Maybe they were just giving him an extra day off.
Oh,
Yeah.
big time. That was like
Yeah.
it's one thing like you now see the Tchucks actually do have some sort of something probably because you saw Matthew Tchuk didn't play the entire end of the final game. So I don't think he was
Yeah.
just being benched because of his play. I think he was actually really feeling it, just not something he had to go and deal with,
Which is
obviously. So he could still sit on the bench, but it was definitely fortunate for Canada, that's for sure.
Yeah, it's tough to say too.
Not for me.
Anyways, do you have any more news or notes for this game we have here tonight? Or should
No,
we wrap
I
this
don't know.
sucker
It was
up?
it was kind of fun. Like it was a little shocking to me to get it back into club hockey after the Four Nations. Just what an intense, exciting hockey game. The first Canada US game and the last one. Just that felt like the best playoff hockey you can watch. So it's just so nice to have that type of thing, come around every couple of years. But it's a
Do you
shock to
think
my
that
system.
Matthews, Marner, and Nylander came back and were just kind of like the first couple of shifts on the ice, they were kind of in that mode still, and then everybody else around them wasn't as good, and they went,
Oh
fuck,
man,
yeah, I can't just like it's not like
Marner.
I'll just feed it to they're not there because they're not that good.
Yeah. Marner in
Alright, fair
particular, I think, because like he was playing, he played all up and down the Canada lineup and not because of his poor play, but because he's a guy that was, able to elevate with anyone on that team. And so I think, Matthews was still expected to drive a line and shut down Connor McDavid, which is a little different than Marner. Just like, hey, Marner, go play with Sid. Hey, go play with McDavid. Go down to the third line, play with these guys. And tonight was, he gets to play with Matthews still, but you look down your lineup, down the bench, it's a different feeling, but that's how it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be special when you go to these international games and you bring something back to your club that you can, teach the rest of the guys. So that's what I want to see from Marner is like, I think he's the guy that could have taken advantage of this, international play and be a more confident and more of a leader on his own team.
What about a guy like Nylander though? Goes from playing with the best Swedish players, comes back and he's playing with Pontus Holmberg.
I mean, like, if the Leafs played Team Sweden, who would win?
Oh, Team Sweden.
Yeah, but like it'd be close. So I'm not sure that Sweden
think?
and yeah. I mean, no huge
I
shot
don't
to
think
Sweden,
so.
but
Sweden beat the USA without a couple of their stars. Like,
and the USA, that was the poorest effort from that team ever. Like,
yeah, it's
I don't
fair.
take much from that one, but yeah, less so for me for Willie. But
They almost beat us. Like, they was overtime, was it not?
That's
Mitch
true.
Marner scored in overtime. It was one shot difference to Team
Yeah.
Canada. So yeah, no, I do think Team Sweden would beat the Leafs. Yes.
Yeah, that's fair. I'm just all cocky because Canada came out with the win. So
Yeah. But the Toronto Maple Leafs are no fucking Team Canada, CP.
yeah, that's true. Yeah, not even close. That's for sure.
Not even close.
Mm.
All right, so the Leafs play again Wednesday against the Boston Bruins. A big match against the Bruins. The Bruins are going to want to win that one because they need points in their division. And they just need points in general. So you can look for us after the game. For now, that's a wrap. Thanks for joining us for Split the Defense Leafs post-game, presented by Laforest Electrical Contractors, serving the Kingston and surrounding area since 2004. Leave us a comment on your way out of here if you haven't already. We will respond to you. Hit that like button, subscribe to our YouTube, and until next time, peace.
Later.
Follow the boys on Twitter at STDPWebby, at Craig D. Pearce, and at Ted_is_show.